Hey, Vintage Gamers. I have something pretty cool in this episode. I think you're going to like it. I'm stoked. It is a glorious day at VintageGamer.com. We have acquired a Sega Master System. I am so excited about this. I've always kind of wanted one of these. When I was a kid in elementary school, when they were out and popular, it really wasn't worth wasting a Christmas or a birthday gift or something like that on this. Everybody had the NES. In this country, I broadcast from the United States. In Europe, these were much more popular, I found out. Especially in the UK, I did not know that. I think Nintendo, the NES, had like 97% market share or something like that. It was a lot. I don't even know off the top of my head. And Nintendo was doing some shady shit with their licensing agreements and stuff like that. So that really helped eliminate the competition for them. But I can't even off the top of my head remember any stores that carried Master System stuff. I just can't. And just, being big Apple II people at the time, and, we were in and out of a lot of software stores, and I had my Nintendo and stuff, of course, and I just don't remember anyone selling Sega Master System stuff, or Atari 7800 stuff, for that matter. So maybe it was out there and I just missed it or wasn't interested in it at the time. Completely possible. But very, very, very excited to get one of these. I really dig the styling on this thing. I always kind of did. I always found them interesting. And I think there was like one person in my class that had one, and they never played with it because everybody had Nintendo, and so that's a little card slot. Some of the games came on cards. Most of them came on cartridges, which obviously is up here. And no toaster nonsense like the NES. These hold up very, very well due to, not having as many moving parts and stuff. Reset button is up there. Power button right down there. And interestingly, this is kind of a different take on things. The pause button is actually on the console itself, which I don't find terribly unreasonable or anything like that. A lot of people think it's weird, but if you're going to hit pause, odds are you're getting up to go to the bathroom or something, so it shouldn't be a big deal just to hit it on your way by. 2 controller ports. And I'll move some of this other stuff out of the way, and let's take a look at the back. Which it has a really neat design. I definitely dig the styling here, which is very different. And this is in Japan, this was the Sega Mark III. And they totally, when they decided to come compete in the United States, they totally changed the design, which was a good move. The Mark III is like white with some blue trim, and I just don't think it would have appealed to the consumers at the time. This was a better move. Okay, so we got an audio video out, and I got some AV cables to go with that. The trouble with this is sound would only come out of one side, so I got another splitter, so we get sound out of both sides, not just the right or the left. So this is actually aftermarket. Then channel 3, channel 4, just like an NES. RF out, which is probably what most people would have been using back in the day. And then, of course, the AC adapter, and we did get an original Sega AC adapter. I am told, I have not independently confirmed this, but I'm told both this guy and this guy are compatible with the Genesis 1. If you don't know, the Sega Genesis is one thing I think Sega really should have done better. The same power, or the AV cables or whatever, from Genesis through GameCube, or excuse me, from Super Nintendo to GameCube are exactly the same. Sega's, even the power supplies changed from model to model. So there were three different Genesis models, and they all take a different power system, which is power AC adapter there, which is very, very annoying. I've ruined a Genesis 2 because I didn't know better at the time. I'm embarrassed to say that, but I was not a Sega guy back in the day. And here's probably the most controversial component of the Sega Master System. Looks remarkably like the Nintendo controller. It is a good design. You can't knock that NES controller. You got button 1, button 2, not a D-pad, but more of a directional 8-way directional pad. This is the thing that many people loathe. I don't think it's terrible. I did buy an Allen 9000 Pro, which that's an aftermarket, it's a modern piece of aftermarket equipment. It's a joystick for the Master System. I'll go over that in a separate review, but I really actually dig the styling of the controller. I like the black with the gray, and it has the little kind of a maroon red trim highlighting thing. What is irritating on these, and we've got a lot of complaints, you notice the wire comes out the side, which that is really annoying. I'm holding the camera with my right hand, but normally that's where my hand would go. Let's see if I can move things without shaking the camera too much. Normally that's where my hand, my hand's bigger than it was when I was like 9, but that's a big complaint. In later versions of the Master System, some of the later ones that got released later in life or whatever, it is actually on the top, just like the NES. Those controllers, I don't think they're extremely expensive or anything, but they certainly are the more prized or preferred ones, if you will. A familiar looking game port, or what is that, a jack? Controller port? Yeah, controller port, controller, whatever. Familiar pin configuration. I believe maybe somebody can clarify this in the comment section. One thing that astounds me to this day, the Sega Genesis controllers work on the Atari 2600. I am told the Genesis controllers also work on this. I will have to test that out in an upcoming video, but that's what I'm told, which makes the Genesis controller pretty freaking awesome. And there's some good layouts. There's a 6-button layout. There's a there's a 3-button. There's I think there was one other one. I can't remember now. Again, wasn't a big Sega guy back in the day, but so the story behind this, how I came across this. I live in New Mexico, as you guys know, and I kind of been, not like actively seeking one out, but I just been kind of on the lookout for one. And I didn't want to go to eBay. One, it is just more fun to find stuff out in the wild. But that aside, I'm not opposed to going to eBay for games. A lot of my old games have come from eBay. But the thing with eBay with buying a console, and I had a bad experience with the Genesis. The thing with eBay for buying a console, and I don't think sellers are typically dishonest or anything like that, but I got one and it didn't work. And I don't really think it was the seller, because he was very well rated. I bought some games from him before, stuff like that. But this Genesis, my feeling was, I think it was UPS. I'm not picking on just UPS. The post office and FedEx are equally to blame. But they just in the process of shipping it, it's old electronics. I'm sure something just got knocked loose. I think that's what happened. So I didn't really want to buy one on one of these guys on eBay. I'm making this, it's May 1st, 2017 is when I'm recording this, and you can find one for $50 to $60 with the cables and a power supply and a controller, maybe 2 controllers and a light gun if you're lucky. I think it's actually a phaser gun, I think is what it's called with this. Anyway, so you can find one, this thing's ready to go for me, and you can find one on eBay for $50, $60. Maybe a little better if you get lucky, but I didn't want to go that route. And I was traveling in Ohio. I was visiting a friend of the show, and I was there for work. Vanny 4, who's a friend of the show from way back in the day, back when the 1999 version of VintageGamer.com. So, but I had read, I was watching somebody else's channel. I feel terrible that I can't remember the name of the channel offhand, but they do all kinds of videos on how to get the best quality picture out of your retro console, and on a modern TV, or should you use a CRT or whatever. And I feel terrible. I'll put the link in the description. I feel so bad I can't remember. I think it's My Life in Gaming or Our Life in Gaming, something like that. Anyway, they happen to mention this cool retro gaming store in Salem, Ohio. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I've been to Salem, Ohio. It's not a big place. You know, they got a Walmart, they got a cute little downtown area, and they got a Home Depot and some restaurants and stuff, but it's not like a major city. I'm like, how the hell is a retro gaming store making it in Salem, Ohio? It just really surprised me. But anyway, I go there with Vanny 4, and I apologize for the break-in footage there. My memory card filled up. I'm usually very careful about that stuff. Anyway, so I'm with Vanny 4, and he lives maybe 20 minutes away from Salem, Ohio. He lives closer to Youngstown. And I mentioned, hey, I heard about this Stone Age Gamer classic gaming store on YouTube. How come you haven't told me about this? And he's like, I had no idea. And it's Saturday afternoon, and their storefront hours are very limited. They happen to be open on Saturday afternoon, and I'm like, well, hell, let's get some good food, and then let's go down there and check it out. He's like, all right, game on. So we had, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes down to Salem, and it's in the Salem's downtown, which I so wish I'd brought my camera, and I just wasn't thinking. I was all giddy because I'm like, ooh, a classic game store. And I have a couple retro gaming stores in New Mexico, and honestly, they're not much to speak of. I mean, they'll have some Nintendo games and like a dozen Atari games, and half of them are baseball or Pac-Man. I was so blown away by the game selection at the Stone Age Gamer. Here's the receipt. They got a website, obviously, stoneagegamer.com. I talked to one of the owners while I was there. His name was Andy. Super awesome guy. They were so knowledgeable. And I like to think I know something about classic gaming, but I know about Apple IIs and I know about Nintendo stuff. I said, hey, I need a thing for a Genesis 2, and, I need this, I need that, and, it was all right there. They just pulled it off the shelf, and he explained which cable's which for different Sega systems and problems and what to look out for. And, I was there really, I just got a couple cables, and I was marveling at the awesome game selection they had, all the way from, like, 2600 all the way up to, I don't know, like PlayStation 2. They were really well stocked. And I was so glad we went down there. They had a couple arcade machines there, Pac-Man, I think. I'm trying to remember the others, but they were just so incredibly well stocked with games. A good selection. Retail prices for the most part, but fair retail prices. And we were kind of shooting the breeze a little bit, and I mentioned, hey, one thing I've been kind of keeping an eye out for is a Sega Master System. You don't happen to have one in stock, because the gaming stores here, like I said, the inventory is kind of crappy, and they never have a Master System. Oh no, we got a Genesis though. I'm like, well, yeah, so do I. But anyway, he's like, yeah, I got a Master System, and I was like, oh, no kidding. And he pulled it right out. It was apparently on a shelf upstairs or something, and he went and got it, and he's like, yeah, here, it's all ready to go. And you get a controller, and I'll hook you up with the AV cables, and you got a power supply, and and I'm like, okay. I'm like, hey, look, I traveled I traveled like 1,500 miles, and I'm not going to be able to return it. Do you mind very much? Can we hook it up just to make sure everything still works? And they were so awesomely accommodating. Absolutely. No, I totally understand. No problem. And, they had a shelf of TVs and consoles and stuff, and they moved one and plugged this baby right in. It fired right up. And you said, okay, yeah, no, I think you're good to go. Any questions? They were awesome. They were just awesome. So anyway, looking at my receipt, I paid, as you can see, I paid $75 for this. With Ohio sales tax, I put it at just about 80. And I was happy to pay it. Yeah, I could have gotten one for 50 or 60. I do like finding things in the wild, is that worth a big markup? No. But in my case, having had problems with old consoles and shipping before, and to get it right then, right there, to have a cool story to go with it, I didn't mind paying a bit of a premium. $20 in the big scheme of things isn't going to break me. And most importantly, they plugged it in right there in front of me, verified that it worked. They totally stood by their. I got such a good feeling. Like, look, if you get back and you have any problems, call me, or you can send it in. Your buddy's local. If you want him to pick something up for you, if we need to figure something out. And I said, okay, cool. Just very accommodating, super nice and knowledgeable guys at that store. Very well stocked store. They don't have their retail hours are a little funky. Check the website because they're only open I think 3 or 4 days a week. It was a great experience. I'm glad I stopped by, and I'll definitely be going back the next time I'm in Ohio, which is usually 2 or 3 times a year. So anyway, that's my story about the Stone Age Gamer and coming across this awesome Sega Master System, which I'm very, very happy to pick up for the show. Very, 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 very cool. And interestingly, I have a lot of Master System games. I'd anticipated getting one of these for quite a while. I come across games really cheap because they're not Genesis. A lot of, sometimes people don't know what the hell the Master System is. So it's not a hard system to collect for. I want to say there's like 160 or 170 games. Even the rarest of the rare for the Master System is not terribly expensive. And I already have a good handful of them. Like the Atari 7800, I think this is a collection I can actually complete without, sacrificing. I won't have to sell the house or sell my car, mortgage the house, something like that. And that makes it fun when you collect for less popular systems that still have cool games and do not have gigantic libraries and stuff. You can have a complete collection if you're a little OCD like me and you want a complete collection and you just want to have some fun with the hobby. This is awesome. So. That is my story. I'm very happy to have the Sega Master System. We'll be doing a lot of Master System reviews. So if it's something you're into even a little bit or curious about, be sure to like and subscribe, please, please, please. And that's it. The Stone Age Gamer, as I mentioned, does have a website, and I'm not affiliated with them or anything in any way. We just had a good conversation. It was a good experience for me. I will say, while their little caveman logo guy is cool, I do think the VintageGamer.com girl is a lot cooler. But they do have a website. If EverDrives are something you guys are into, they're they do the EverDrives. That's not my thing, as you guys know, but they do have EverDrives. Shoot them an email if you're looking for something. They have an awesome stock, and I think they. I did email. I had one question about something, and they got back to me real quick. So, I think you'll be real pleasantly surprised. Anyway, that's going to do it for this episode of VintageGamer.com. Like and subscribe. Tell your friends. Hit us up on Twitter. All that jazz. And stay tuned for a whole lot of Sega Master System reviews. Sit, Dick, sit. Good cat.